I love it. Every time it's easy to set. You set it with your foot on top. These jaws come open and dead.
Oh, yeah.
Personal satisfaction. What? Something like 2,000 seeds, okay? We went heavy on them. Yeah. And so what seeds not to put out too early, like your peppers. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. These beautiful pictures of this fake butterfly begonia, and it looks like a real butterfly on some plant that looks like an African violet. There's a lot of fakes out there.
Good morning, Northwest Arkansas, and all of our listeners out there in America. My name is Mark Rockwell.
And I'm Josiah Gosson. You're listening to Two Nuts on a Tree. Today, we have a great show for you. What you should be planting in your garden, what perennials you should be planting in your garden.
We only got through half of them last week, and we hope you all really enjoyed it. These are perennials that for the past 30-plus years we have grown, and the ones that we like, because not all perennials are the same.
No.
And so we've kind of gone through all the drudge
hurts and hangups of growing things.
Oh yeah. I mean, like this plant, this variety breaks. This one right here gets powdery mildew.
Yeah.
All right. Right. Yep. This one's not tall enough. So we've already gone through all that. And so if you listen to last week's show, because we're doing the second half.
If you're new to the show, this show is all to help gardeners, landscapers, DIYers, and like-minded people. We're garden nerds that want to help others. So we've been through the ringer on things, so you don't have to be.
Our zone here, and this is another thing too, perennials deal with zone. So our zone here in Northwest Arkansas is 6A. So you will probably want to adjust that according to where you live.
Yes.
But the nice thing is we're right in the middle. So those people above us can use a lot of the material that we're talking about, and those people below us, because there's a wide range.
Now, I would like to add in USDA says that we're zone 7A to 7B.
It's a lie.
Well, we listen, we go by, what is it, 6A?
Yeah, 6A.
We go by 6A. The reason being is because we're out here with the plants. We know what's not going to make it through the winter.
And it only takes one night to ruin your year.
Listen, we have absolutely. We have a lot of salespeople that throw all these new plants. Hey, you can now grow this. You can now grow this. Well, we've tried.
Yeah.
We have really tried.
Yeah.
So,
and we have mentioned Proven Winners Color Choice shrubs, right? Flowering shrubs. The reason why I like them, when we mentioned this on that previous show, is because their trials that they've done on their shrubs are very accurate.
Yes.
And so we give them a lot of leeway, and we trust
Proven winners.
Yes. We trust in them. And so we give them a lot of leeway.
And their shrubs are just amazing. Most of them are improved varieties that are disease resistant, all sorts of different types of things. And so, and they're tried and true.
Yeah.
I have never not liked one of their shrubs.
Right.
I
felt like they are more of an educational company than one that's trying to sell us.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. They really are. And they even have classes that they put us through. So we know, like their course that they do for all of their nurseries that grow their shrubs. So
which means that we need to go through it. Yeah. We got to go through it this year.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't look on my sheet. All right. And so this show, though, is about perennials. And we're going to start with M. Right in the middle.
M?
Right in the middle, okay? But I want to do time to apply.
Yeah, let's get into time to apply.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, baby.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's time to apply 5-Star Fescue. 5-Star Fescue is a blend of 5 different grass seeds for your lawn. Reason why that's so important, because one grass will take off into your traffic area, one grass will take off into your shade, one will take off into your sun, but you'll never know it, and your whole lawn will be just even keel green.
Yes.
So 5-Star Fescue is our favorite. Make sure that you put down Fertilome's lawn seed fertilizer when you put down your 5-Star Fescue, because it has a high phosphorus fertilizer. It's inexpensive, and you'll be glad you did it, because you'll get that root system going good. So this is the second week of February. Now's the time to put down your 5-Star.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you put down your pre-emergent on your existing lawn. They have a great one. It's cheap, and it works great. The main ingredient is Dimension. It is their weed stopper. Pre-emergent keeps that weed seed from especially your crabgrass from germinating and causing you a problem. So make sure that you put down the weed stopper by Fertilome. Also, your weed-free zone, those existing weeds that you have, put down weed-free zone. It'll kill anything and everything that you got ever made as far as the weed's concerned. And so only weed killer that you can use down to temperatures of 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So that is your only option is the weed-free zone.
Yeah.
Do both at the same time, and you'll take care of yourself for the next 3 months, guaranteed. Let's talk about moles. I know we bring up moles every... Yeah.
It's important right now.
Look,
yeah.
My mole trap is what I use. I love it. Every time it's easy to set. You set it with your foot on top. These jaws come open and dead.
Oh, yeah.
Personal satisfaction. Mole goal is Fertilome's number one for mole repellent.
Yes.
That you put down, you push them into your neighbor's yard. But if any one of them gets through, I got you covered. Talk about your repellent.
Okay, and then you got the Gonzo. Once you get your yard cleared, these are great to put in your yard to keep them away. Mole's hearing is very acute, so this will actually buzz. No need for batteries or messing around with this. It's solar powered. Will keep going and keep going and keep going and recharge itself. This will put a buzz through your yard to keep those moles, voles, and gophers away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And now next week's show, we're going to talk about seeds for the vegetable garden.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Do not miss that because we have, something like 2,000 seeds, okay? We went heavy on them. Yeah. I mean, a football
man. Yeah. We got a really good selection of seeds, all non-GMO.
Yeah. You name it, we got it.
Organic, heirloom, flowers, vegetables. We got them.
So what we're going to address is some of the questions that people always have every year. When to plant what seed, because you have seeds that take a long time to germinate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, in the springtime, you have cool temperatures. And so what seeds not to put out too early, like your peppers. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And what seeds to plant. A lot of it is what medium to use and why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. What size plug tray? So there's all kinds of things that we need.
What fertilizers to use on young plants.
Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're going to get into all that next week. And so we got another great show ahead of us.
Yeah.
Today we've also got comment section. Man, that was a good time to apply. I love the music.
Yeah.
That really
was
gets
good.
You going, huh? Yeah.
I'm so glad we hired her.
Yeah.
He makes us look good.
Yeah. Makes you look good. I've been there.
So what hey, I only got one email.
Okay, what you got?
It was from Proven Winners. They said, you know what? You're doing a really bang up job, but we need to kind of upgrade Josiah's wardrobe. So congrats. Look at you, man. You look great.
He's been criticizing what I wear.
Dude, you look awesome.
Almost 6 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
You looks good.
Check this out.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
swag from Proven Winners.
You're looking good.
Yeah, they've got good merchandise. You can also go on their website and purchase this. So, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you sure can.
Cool.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got the
By the way, they didn't send me anything.
comment section. No, man, you just gotta.
Yeah, I know. They like you more than me.
Yeah, you got to brush your teeth. And
All right, go ahead.
Look a little better, I guess. No.
What do you got?
Okay, here. This one is from Bailey. Bailey commented, thanks for commenting. I'm having a hard time ordering seed online, especially from Amazon. Seems to be a lot of fakes out there. What can I do to avoid this? This is a big thing.
Yeah, they're selling seed to make sales.
Yeah, so this is a huge thing here at the nursery. I cannot count the times that people come into the nursery looking for a plant that doesn't exist. And so this is a very common thing on Amazon. Here's my tip to avoid ordering fakes. When you're putting in seed, because you'll go online, any website that they have, and you'll see these beautiful pictures of this fake butterfly begonia, and it looks like a real butterfly on some plant that looks like an African violet. There's a lot of fakes out there, so you want to avoid from getting these. You'll purchase the seed, get home, and sometimes it doesn't even sprout. If it does sprout, it's something completely different. I also had this happen buying some seeds for split leaf monstera. So here's what I would recommend doing. if you are buying seeds online, make sure that it shows you a package of the seeds. It'll look like, like Wetzel seed or Baker's Creek.
No, just don't even do it online. If look, can I interrupt?
Yeah, go for it.
If you want heirlooms, okay, fine. Go to rareseed.com and get your heirlooms, all right?
Yeah.
But even then, you'll get some vegetables that'll just be more seed than vegetable, okay?
Yeah.
I've been there, done that, okay?
Yeah.
Because, so with that type of thing, whenever you're going online, there is trial and error. The biggest problem, or another problem, is people getting a wildflower seed online. If you look at the back,
Yes.
if you look at
a lot
the
of
back,
filler.
number one, most of them are for your zone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And like columbine does not grow well here at all. I mean, the summertime kills it, but that's the number one ingredient in most wildflower seed mix.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the back, you'll see that it's 99% inert ingredient. You know what that is? It's sawdust.
Filler, sawdust, rice hulls.
In the little shaker can.
Yeah.
Go to your local nursery and you can actually, like here, you can get zinnias for our zone. You can get daisies for our zone. You can get this and this and this and make your own wildflower mix and mix it with your own sand or sawdust and put it in a shaker mix and just do it yourself.
Now, say for some reason that you're stuck at home, can't get to a local nursery, don't have any around you, and you can only buy from offline. Just go ahead and Google if it's a reputable source. And also just make sure it also shows a picture of the seed packet. That's been the way that
front and back.
Yeah. If I have to order certain seed online, because maybe I can't find a certain place or something, which won't be much of a problem anymore because we're getting a lot of seed in, but here at the nursery. But if you have to, just make sure it's
Reputable
source.
All right, what else you got?
Okay, our next one is from Harry. I started a small orchard with standard size fruit trees. Mm-hmm. Is it true that standard size have a greater life expectancy over semi-dwarf or dwarf? So somewhat, yes. So there is some truth to that. That your standard trees can have a longer life expectancy, but your semi-dwarf, here's what it boils down to, Mark. Mm-hmm. Do you want to get a 30-foot ladder and be 30 foot up in the air for every time you have to go out and harvest? Or would you have a shorter tree that's much more manageable, produces more rather than larger branch structure? And so now your semi-dwarf and dwarf, their life expectancy is about 20, 25 years, sometimes 30 years.
Yeah, which is long enough.
Which is more than long enough. And well, most of your people that have orchards, they do succession planting anyway. So
every 5 years.
Yep. When you're starting to get down the road, you plant another one. Or what they also do is they completely cut off the tree, leave a 4-foot stump or so.
Yeah, that's true.
And they graft onto it.
Yeah.
And so that's how they keep their succession of producing fruit going. The reason I like semi-dwarf and dwarf, mainly semi-dwarf, is I've noticed we have a higher fruit production because the tree is more focused on that than branch structure.
Yeah.
They're a lot more manageable.
And disease resistant.
Yeah, more disease resistant. Yeah, that's correct, because they're grafted onto certain rootstock. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, now can we get into the meat and potatoes?
No, nope, not yet.
What do we got?
We got one more. Okay, so this is from TEH Pepper. Hey, guys, I'm right down the street. Awesome.
Oh, the pepper plant. Go ahead.
Pepper. I'm right down the street. I bought my Christmas tree from you, and I'll be dropping by to check out your seed selection. Awesome. Yes, it's a great selection.
Yeah.
We've got, oh, goodness, so much. Question for you tree experts. I'm working on my garden this year, just moved here, and I already have 4 small 6-foot or so trees in the yard, looking to build out an actual orchard. 2 of them I know are Canadian choke cherries because the tag was left on them, left on one of the trees. However, I had an infestation of bagworms when I moved in and can't identify the other 2 trees. We'll get to what you can use for that. I think they're ornamental, pear or apple. What's the best way to identify? Do I need to wait for foliage and flowers in the spring? So there's a few things here. The first thing I want to start on, because it's at more the beginning, is bagworm problem. If you're having a problem on any of your trees, I highly recommend spinosad from Fertilome.
Yeah.
Spray your trees with that. That'll take care of that, and get them on a regiment till you get rid of those bagworms.
A little trick to using spinosad is spraying in the evening, because that's when the bagworms do most of their. That's when they're very active.
Bingo.
So just spray it in the evening, and yeah, he's right. There's no. We did our own trials here.
Yes,
we
we did.
used asphate, permethrin, and imidacloprid. We went through all the active ingredients, and spinosad was number 1 and knocked it out 100%.
Now, on identifying those, there's a few things you could do. Now, the best way to do is wait for spring to come, and when they go into flower, you can actually snip off a branch, bring it in here to the nursery. We can help you identify it. The other thing that you can do is, if you don't know what fruit it's going to produce exactly, because we can tell you what type of tree it is by looking at foliage and flower, but we won't know exactly the type of fruit it will have. For instance, like Arkansas Black or Fuji or Ambrosia.
that'd be a tough
we don't
one.
know that until it does fruit. But we can certainly help you identify that. Just bring a cutting in. We have people do that all the time.
Yeah, or wait till fall when the fruit is ripe and bring up a bushel.
Yes, please. Or a
All
pie.
Are we ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so last week we went through A, C, E, G, H.
You don't have those
L.
in order.
Yeah.
You're missing a lot of letters there.
All right. We stopped with leucanthemum, the Shasta daisy.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're already on it.
You know it.
All right, so we stopped with Monarda. Number one, I'm going to start off with the problem with Monarda. Monarda is the butterfly. What's the common name of it? What's the butterfly flower? Butterflies and hummingbirds. It's the number one ingredient for butterflies and hummingbirds. Monarda, the number one thing about it is that it gets powdery mildew. Most of varieties do. So the variety that we're growing is called B Mine. It's more compact than your normal Monarda, which gets quite large. And the flowers on them, I love the flowers on them because it's different.
Yeah,
totally different than any other flower. And so it's very good for attracting hummingbirds and butterflies. That's why we like it.
Yeah, the Didyma B Mine Monarda. Yeah, it has more disease resistance to it, and like you said, the powdery mildew resistant. That is a true thing. Now, Monarda, it's somewhat a little bit like your lavender. You can plant it in drier places.
It prefers dry,
and it will just take off. It does really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is your Junior Walker variety of the
Nepeta. This is catmint. So this is a.
That's one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites because it's such a good one for pollinators. Great to put around the garden, or as a border plant up and down walkways, at front entrance. It's a beautiful one.
Has lavender flowers up against the gray foliage.
Yes. And it is a low maintenance perennial, So once you plant this and get it established, it'll do pretty well on its own unless we're in a drought, heavy drought.
Yes.
So, you might keep an eye for that. But other than that, it's one of those plant and leave alone.
Yeah. And it's blue. Blue's very hard. It's a very hard color to have in the perennial landscape.
Yes.
So, and it's one that you could put in front. And that's why I like that Junior Walker. Before we had the Walker's Low, which is 18 to 24 inches.
Yeah.
But this one hovers around 12 to 15. So it's really good for the front of the border.
Yeah. So we have 2 types of catmint coming in. These are
Walker Low and the Junior. Peonies.
Yes.
Or peony.
Coral Sunset. So this peony, what's so funny?
What?
I'm so immature. Every time somebody calls up, if you're more from the north, you say panties.
Yeah.
Panties.
Yeah.
I'm immature. So
Peony.
If you call up here and ask for peonies, it depends on how you say it.
Yeah.
If somebody laughs, just roll with it. I'd like to order some panties.
Yeah. But your Coral Sunset, it has double magenta flowers. And that, well, once again, it's extremely, extremely vibrant, and that's why I like it. And with peonies, I look for the double flowering because it's a lot more full.
Yeah.
It's like your Kippenberg. There's one, Carl Kippenberg is one that every year I've had the same one for 30 years because it sells. Its petal count is just amazing. It's very dense and it's nice.
Pronounce that second one for me. Duchess de
Numerez.
Numerez.
Yeah, Numerez.
This one is, although it's hard to pronounce, this one is actually a favorite of mine because it's a double white flower peony, and it is absolutely beautiful. A lot of people, that come into the nursery, they don't actually know that there is a white flower because it's not a common one that they've maybe seen.
Right.
But this one is a beautiful flower, has a really big head on it, and very, very fragrant.
Yep. Another one variety is that we grow here is the Kansas. Kansas is more of a cherry red. It's extremely bright, and once again, it has the double petal count. So I always go for the petal count when I'm looking for peonies. And then we mentioned Carl Rosenfield. Sarah Bernhardt is one that's another one that I've grown for 30 years.
Yep.
That soft pink, it's always been a humdinger here at the nursery.
All right, then we have Russian sage, Perovskia. So this one, blue set, this is a really good variety. Now, the blue set doesn't actually get that big.
That's a new variety that came out last year. It's sold out like...
Yes, and the reason being is because this one only grows 14 to 22 inches. Now, your regular Russian sage can get sometimes 4 to 5 foot tall, really stringy, sparse, flops over if there's heavy wind. Now, your blue set does not do that. It stays nice, more compact, up to around 2 foot tall, and is really nice. Again, as a border, you can mix this with the catmint, and it flows right along.
Yeah, before, actually, Little Spire would be around 14 to 22 inches, which is hugely important. Before, we always, the blue set. Is that what's called?
Yep.
Blue set is 14 to 22. Your Little Spire is one that I always had to grow for like 30 years because it would only get 24 inches.
Yeah.
Your normal Perovskia, the Russian sage, gets too huge. The reason why I like the Russian sage in general, is because it is a very, very, very good pollinator for the bee population. If you want to increase your honeybee population around your beehives, this is one to grow.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gives blue in the landscape. So the blue set is going to be a very popular variety this year like it was last year.
Now, Phlox paniculata. So there are, 2 varieties of the phlox, your main varieties, and you have the paniculata, which is, panicle. It's upright, and then has that beautiful flower head on it. And then you have your creeping phlox. We're not talking about the creeping phlox right yet. We're talking about the upright. Now, these varieties that we picked out, if you are familiar with paniculata phlox, they can get powdery mildew. Now, the varieties we pick, because we've run into that way too much, they are resistant to the powdery mildew.
Right. And another problem that you have with the paniculatas is the upright phlox is the main stem will break in the wind.
Yeah. Yep. This is true.
We've been there, done that. We stay away from those varieties. So these are the varieties that some of these we've grown for years. Some of the varieties, like David is a white one.
Yes.
The Nikki, I've grown for years, and Laura. Those are my 3 favorites as far as the paniculatas are concerned. They have this Super Kapow, which is I believe it's red. Very bright. No, excuse me, coral. It's very vibrant coral. So that's a different color. So I think that we've covered all the color schemes in our Phlox paniculata, the uprights.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty good varieties in there.
And then your subulatas, which is your creeping
phlox. Yeah.
And they've yet to come out with a lot of strange and unusual ones on those. We're trying out the violet pinwheels this year. I believe that it's violet purple along with some white.
Yep.
So
and it's a very vivid violet too. Vivid violet.
Yeah.
Now, what I love about the subulata, phlox is that this does so great with retaining walls, and it will just spill and cascade, and it's a beautiful, I mean, really knockout show in the spring. Now, these varieties, normally you just have that small season of bloom for your creeping phlox. Now, the varieties that we've picked actually have a longer bloom time for the spring, so you'll have a longer show. And then they do have little flowers that pop up through the rest of the season. And so this is a great variety because you have a longer window of interest rather than a couple weeks of bloom and then it's over. You have a
it's the
lot
first
longer
to bloom,
window.
so it gets you really excited.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I like the subulatus. Then you have your platycodon, balloon flower.
Balloon flower.
Yeah.
Now, last week we accidentally called the bellflower balloon flower.
I did.
Yep. So we just want to straighten that out. If you watched last week's show for the confusion, last week was bellflower. Now we're talking balloon flower.
Confusion. It's a state we stay in.
There's so many plants.
But we're trying the Popstar Blue. Popstar Blue is a large flower with giant star-shaped blue flowers. That is the one that cross-pollinated. It was
With the Popstar White.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, now they can. Well, here's
Go
the
ahead.
deal. I had blue here and I had white here, and they cross-pollinated, and I had a blue one with white stripes.
yeah.
That's this Popstar.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think they stole mine.
I think we should try it. And
I'm looking forward to it. Popstar
Yeah.
Blue and Popstar White.
yep.
Now, one of my favorites, Rudbeckia.
Yeah. Rudbeckia.
I love Rudbeckia.
Oh, beautiful cone on it. Yes. Yeah. Why don't you get into the cherry brandy?
All right, they've come a long way as far as Rudbeckia, coneflower.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They've come a long way with the coneflowers, which is the common name of Rudbeckia. It used to be just a, seed head and droopy petals, and there really wasn't much, show about it.
Yeah.
But this one, they have really come a long way with it. And the cherry brandy is really nice because it has the moon red flowers. And it's about 3 to 4 inches wide. And so it's one that I really like. It has a dark center with your maroon red flowers coming off of it. And nice thing about your Rudbeckia, which is coneflower, is that all of them are drought tolerant. So they're very hard to kill.
Yeah. Now, my favorite is Indian Summer, the older fashioned,
Love it.
Just that beautiful bright yellow with that brown cone or flower head on it. I love that one because it grows so well. Now, a lot of people don't know that Rudbeckia is also great fall planting flower as well. And so it can be because it will bloom in the cooler temperatures after summer, going into fall. So this is a great fall perennial as well as it is spring and summer.
Next one would be your Luna. Luna is close to the Indian Summer, but it's only 2 colors. It's yellow with red in it. And whenever you have yellow and red in a perennial, you can see it for miles.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Number one thing about a perennial garden is gaudy is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of a rule of thumb with perennials. Gaudy is good. Like you wouldn't paint your house yellow, red, and purple, but you put that.
Definitely.
You looked
Put
at me
that
like
in
your house was yellow, red, and purple.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
I was just a little scared. We didn't really rehearse that part.
Oh man, you're reading my mail.
Gaudy is good in the perennial garden.
Yeah, I would agree. And also the Rudbeckia, it really stands out a lot better in mass planting. So I really like the mass planting of this, covering a whole area. And this is, again, a great perennial. If you can't reach as well with the hose, put it in that area if you want color. Because like the echinacea and
The Leucanthemum, Shasta daisy.
yes.
Good cut flowers. Is that where you're going?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great cut flowers and more drought tolerant. So, yeah.
Exactly. All right. This one is one of Josiah's favorite, the salvias.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This is such a great landscape perennial because, again, this one's pretty low maintenance. Now, to get it established, keep an eye on it for the first season. But once it's established, man, it is really good at just popping back up and showing off. And so, like the catmint, but this one is kind of a deeper blue.
Yeah. Which is extremely hard to find.
Yes, my favorite is the May Night. So the May Night, it stays more compact, but this one just fills in in and mounds really, really, really well. It's a great landscape perennial, like I said, because it's low maintenance. If you have an area in your yard, it's hard to get something to grow. Try this out, because I've noticed it can handle a little bit more clay, to a little bit more well draining, to even some wet spots. It doesn't do too well with wet spots.
It's very drought tolerant.
But it can do well in an area that you're having a hard time growing something.
And especially if you're in deer country. This is the one perennial that deer will leave alone.
Yes.
So it's like the foolproof, deer-resistant perennial.
Salvia, yeah.
And the new variety that we're trying out this year is the Blue Bayou. It is more of a violet blue. Now, your May night will be a deep purple. This one is more of a blue color, and so we're trying it out this year.
Actually, we tried it out last year, and it was a great variety, so that's why we reordered it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember? There was a time where Mark came out where
I didn't take my dementia pill.
Catmint,
okay,
and the lavender. It went out, so we ordered quite a bit of it, but it went out so quick. There was a time Mark came out. We talked about it last week, but Mark came out and goes, "Did we forget to order this?" Nope, we ordered a fair amount.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
let's talk about sedum. Talking about drought resistant. Here we go.
Yeah, stone crop.
Yeah,
this is a good one.
Yeah, this is one that Josiah really likes. Actually, I think you're the one that everything but Angelina. I think you're the one that ordered it. Angelina is one of my favorite because it's like your subbulata, the phlox, creeping phlox. It's like that. And it's very low to the ground. It's good for rock gardens.
Yeah.
And I grow it for the foliage. The foliage uses chartreuse yellow with pink flowers. But I grow it for the foliage because it just keeps growing. And as it grows, it will root itself and just goes throughout a rocky area.
Now, what you need to know about stone crop or sedum is it is technically a succulent. And so this you don't really want to get too involved and have too much maintenance with because so this is, again, a great area for a really hot, dry spot because it'll suck that water up and hold on to it and just water itself as needed. And so you really don't want to do a whole lot of maintenance. I've had some people come in, it keeps dying. Typically when it gets down to it, they have it in an area that they have to water a lot for other plants.
water.
Yeah, you really don't want to do a whole lot to it. And it will flop if you give it too much water.
Yeah.
And so if you have floppy sedum, stop watering.
Yeah, that's why the diamond variety is a variety that is supposed to be like a non-flop. It's floppy-less.
Floppy-less.
Yeah, no flop.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Floppy-less.
That's
good.
That was in
floppy-less. Was it really in the description?
Yeah, it's non-flopping stems.
Oh. We made a word.
That's right. No flop.
Oh,
so,
yes.
I mean, we have the Dozier and then the Dream Dazzler.
The Dream Dazzler, that one's great because it has different colors in it. It's a lower growing sedum. It's a beautiful.
I remember it being real magenta, a deep red.
Yes.
Yeah. Then one of my favorites would be the Tennessee-dum. Tennessee-dum is one of those I've grown forever. It's one of my favorite perennials. The Robinson Red, which is the only Tennessee-dum I've ever grown, it's very drought tolerant. The foliage is a fern-like foliage, and the flowers on it, they're different variances of red. Yeah, and that's why I like the Tennessee-dum. Very good cut flower, along with your Shasta daisy, your echinacea, and your the other ones that we mentioned, coneflower.
Yeah.
But this is another good cut flower, and the way that I do my cut flowers with it's actually dry for you too if you hold it upside down. But it's one of the nice reds as far as cut flowers are concerned. It's about 18 to 24 inches tall.
Yeah, really nice lacy foliage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a flowering fern is what I call it.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
It is beautiful, and it does great for full sun.
Yeah.
You can do some port shade, but best in full sun.
All right. Now let's get into our clematis.
Yes. Man, we grow some really good clematis varieties here. It's one of the vining plants that we kind of stick with. because it's so beautiful. Now, I will share a trick because some of the clematis will bloom around late spring or so. If you cut those back, they will go to bloom big again for you. And so we've even gotten several big blooms, up to 3 big blooms out of them by cutting some of them back.
Yeah. So, what we do here at the nursery is that every spring we'll cut them back as they grow. We'll pinch them.
Yes.
Pinching is when you take off just the very top of the plant. And therefore, when you take off that one singular top, you'll have 2 more coming up. And then you pinch those. Then now you have 4 more coming up. And that's how you get a very, very bushy clematis the first year.
Yeah, you want more blooms, trim it, baby.
Clematis is another one of those that doesn't like wet feet, so do not put it in a wet location and have it in full sun.
Yes.
Okay.
Give it a trellis, please.
You can. it could take some shade either in the morning or evening. It can tolerate full sun. And let me retract a little bit. I think that it does better with a little bit of shade from the western sun. So let's just say 6 hours of full sun every day. It could be in the morning or it can be in the evening. But that's the best environment for a clematis.
Yeah, and it does really great if you have a porch or sidewalk with rails. Plant it next to that. It does really good. Or up on a fence with the trellis. I mean, it's a great plant. Or around your bird feeder, whatever.
And every year it gets thicker. So some of the varieties of I have trouble, and I know that you like to try out new varieties of clematis, and we do that. But I have trouble trying out new varieties of clematis because the ones that I've grown for the past 30 years are still good today.
Still popular.
Ernest Markham, okay? It's a red. It's the best red. Nobody has ever been able to compete with the Ernest Markham.
Yeah.
Your Henry, Henry I. That one right there is another one. It's just a pure white. Jacami, there you go. The purple. The purple jacami. I mean, it's very hard to beat. It'll have 4 to 6 inch wide flowers.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and you can see it for miles. So it's very hard to compete with.
Yep.
Miss Thompson is a deep violet purple. And your Nellie Mosier, okay? It's a bicolor. It's mauve pink and red. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different varieties of clematis, and I think we hit all the colors on those. And that's just where I'm at on clematis. I've yet to find any that are any new varieties that are better than the ones that we carry.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's just where I'm at on it. You want to talk ferns?
Yeah. Let's get into ferns.
Ferns is one that you're pretty much a fern guy.
I love ferns. I think they're great to add in any shade garden because they give that little bit of interest, whether you're wanting them to be lower or taller. The first one is
Desert Eve.
Yep, Desert Eve, yellow. Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
That's not.
I messed up.
Oh, you marked that in the wrong area. Why don't you talk about Achillea?
Why did I put Achillea in here, man? Oh, but okay, hold on. Time out.
Achillea.
Yeah, it's because it does look like a fern. It has fern-like foliage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Desert Eve.
Yeah, it's a dried flower, actually. This isn't one that you would take and you put in your closet, pin it up on a
upside down
on a clothes hanger.
Okay.
Or what you hang your shirts on.
Yeah.
A shirt hanger. And just put it on there upside down with the clothes clip, and it'll stay dry forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a really nice yellow. So
okay, so the first we're into ferns. Thanks, Mark.
that's hilarious.
The Felix femina. This is your lady fern.
Yeah.
This fern is great. Now all of these are perennial ferns, and so not like the Boston fern or the Kimberly fern. Now these ones will come back year after year. You just plant them in the ground. Now most of these like that. Well, they need shade. They are ferns. Now where you naturally find ferns are in gullies out in the woods. Or in dapple shaded areas, but they usually have well drained soil.
Yeah,
but moist, well drained soil.
So fertile loam soil is the best for these. That's why we incorporate stuff like cottonburr compost.
Yeah,
or the potting mix from your friends over at Royal
Gold. Yeah, their potting mix is great.
Yeah.
And so you can actually just use that to amend the soil when you dig your hole. The soil the dirt that you pull out, mix that potting soil in with that,
Yeah.
and backfill around it, your ferns will love you for life.
Yeah.
So that's
Because
a great
it's from aged hardwood. Yeah, it's composted aged hardwood.
Yeah, but your lady fern will have light green, lacy fronds, will tolerate more sun if need to be with good moisture. And then you have the Silver Falls.
Yeah, that was a Royal Horticultural Society award. Yeah.
Silver
of merit.
Falls? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So your Silver Falls, it's a fern with silvery texture in it. And so it kind of has this, looks like a dusting over the fern. It's a beautiful fern to add in the garden. Now that one is going to get about 12 to 24 inches. So about 1 foot to 2 foot tall. And it's beautiful because it'll give you that silvery tone. I love this one next to coral bells. The dark leaf coral bells looks really good to get that kind of contrast.
The next 4 are some that I always carry because with ferns, I like to hover around. It has to be extra special, like the silver ferns, to be under 18 inches. 18 inches is my cutoff as far as ferns are concerned because I like for them to be shown.
Yeah.
All right. Ferns are something that you would pot or plant in between other plants like your hosta and
Great
your coral
filler.
bells.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
a great filler. So that 18 to 24 inches is kind of like where I like to hover so that you can see the foliage.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the first ones would be the autumn fern. Autumn fern is the one that turns that copper color in the fall. One of my favorites. And another one, this is a new one, is called Jurassic Gold. Okay.
Yeah.
It has young shoots that emerge orange, and then the fronds turn to a golden yellow. So that's one that I really
Yeah, and that one gets about 2 foot tall, 2 foot wide. It can get a little bit wider, but with that yellow, it's pretty striking.
Yep.
Beautiful fern.
The next one would be the Strethophorus. That's the I can't think right. The Christmas fern is another one, and yeah, they're ferns. Yeah.
We'll translate some of these Latin words.
Yeah, I can't remember what polystichum is. Okay, it's
Yeah.
it's the Latin word for one of them, but maybe somebody can email us and set it straight. But it's 18 to 24 inches. So you want to just go ahead and go on to fruit?
Let's get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for our perennials in the fruit section, we have strawberries. The varieties that we get have been pretty good to us. These are ones that we plant in our test garden in the back. If you don't know, we have a pretty large test garden in the back that we test all of our items out on. It's pretty much one big experiment year to year. And then because it's organic, we try all of our organic products out on it.
You know, that's how we got hooked onto Royal Gold.
It
using
is.
their fertilizer.
Yeah.
And we've gotten into that on previous shows. But back to our strawberries, our test garden is a raised bed with about 30 inches of cinder blocks.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And so we have our cinder blocks to where the hole is up. So we put organic soil in the holes of our cinder block and we wire it in to where that's where we plant our strawberries.
Yeah, so the cascade down the center aisle.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's great. You walk through our garden and you're just
picking strawberries as you go.
Yeah, pick and go is what we call it.
Yes. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And because they're somewhat shaded from the other plants, rather than just, that big fruiting going on in June, usually.
Yes, yeah.
They keep going because they kind of get tricked out a little bit, I feel like.
We have strawberries on there now.
Yeah.
Because we cover with plastic, and so we have production now.
Yeah, and we have June bearing and ever bearing. But yeah, just walk back through there and pick strawberries. It's fun.
Your June bearing will be just like almost 1.5 inches wide. They're huge.
Yes.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
And if you use the organic soil from Royal Gold, I will promise you one thing. You will have better tasting strawberries. A lot of your strawberries, especially the ones that are in hothouses, they'll have that watery taste and they won't have that pungent sweet taste. The more you focus on organic fertilizer, the more pungent the sweetness will be.
Now, if you're out there wondering,
you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Now, if you're out there wondering, what's the difference between everbearing and June bearing? Well, it's just like how it sounds. Your everbearing will continue to produce. Now, here's here's one thing I have noticed. Your everbearing are usually a little bit smaller because it's putting its production through a longer amount of time, where your June bearing, which of course usually in June, depending on the weather where you're at, can be at different times, but usually put on one big load of strawberries. But even last year, because we had them somewhat shaded when it got really hot, even our June bearing were a little bit tricked out,
right,
and kept producing.
That's why I recommend that people do a variety of varieties.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the two of my favorite, if you want to just talk about June bearing, my favorite June bearing is the All-Star, and that's the one that we grow here at the nursery.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes to everbearing, you can't beat the Eversweet. So
oh, yeah.
Those are through our trials in the past, and we've grown thousands of them. Trust me. I mean, just even in our test garden, we have 6 varieties.
Yeah, now I love the everbearing. That one's great for, everything. As far as baking
You
goes.
got 3 loves.
Fresh eating. Yeah, I'm a food guy, okay? So I'm serious when it comes to strawberries.
Oh, I know.
And they're good
Hey, I've gone
strawberries.
out there, and the whole thing's harvested, and I make sure that I'm here before you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Grass.
You just got to get out there, man. You got to be quicker than that.
I'm getting depressed. I want to
Okay.
talk grasses.
Elijah Blue. Now, this one gets about
Yeah.
10 inches tall. This is a blue fescue, and this is so beautiful. It's like a mound, a hairy mound. And this one's great as border, also great for drier areas, really great anywhere. This can grow in some shade, or it loves full sun, but it can grow in some shade. Okay, so, but it's that beautiful frosty blue, a lot like one of my favorite evergreens, that blue cedar atlas. It has the same kind of frosty blue. This one's called Elijah Blue fescue. And
Yeah,
this
you
is such a
can
good
actually plant that around your blue atlas cedar, and then put in some yellow spirea, and that makes a very nice thing.
one. Oh, yeah.
Because they only get 10 inches tall, so you can put it along a walkway and stuff, and so it'll just kind of smooth out the blue and spread the eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good word.
All right. Your all gold hokanacha. That is a shade. Yeah, it's a
Can
shade.
you say that again?
Yeah, it's a
Hokanaka.
yeah, I know. It's a shade grass that has a golden yellow leaves. Does not like wet feet at all.
Yeah.
And it is a slow grower, so don't expect much the first year.
Yeah, it is a Japanese forest grass.
Yeah.
But in a shade garden, it's a bright chartreuse golden color. It is beautiful. Can't be beat. If you just need some bright chartreuse green, then go for it, because it will feather out. It'll just kind of spread and mound and kind of fill in a little bit more, kind of like liriope would. And kind of fill out. But it is a beautiful forest grass.
Yep. Let's get into the miscanthus. Miscanthus is a genera of a few grasses. It's a big genera of grasses, actually. And the one is the fire dragon. Fire dragon, the reason why it's called that is it's for good reason. In the fall, it'll be that fiery red to orange, and you can see it for miles. It's a different miscanthus than most any other grass. Well, miscanthus, the common name of miscanthus would be your maiden grass.
Yes.
Maiden grass. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fire dragon. What's the other grass that we have?
Miscanthus.
Okay, grassimillis.
Grassimillis.
Okay, let me.
This is your maiden grass, full on.
Right, but here's a beef that I have.
Okay.
The not all grassimillis, that variety, is the same.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we grow our own miscanthus. And the reason being is, if I was to buy it from another grower, the plumes that I get on it are white.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
The miscanthus.
And you can get that anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
The grassimillis that we grow has that coppery bronze
Yeah. Bronze.
plumes.
Yeah.
Which makes all the difference in the world.
And it's pretty outstanding bronze. It's not just like it's bronze.
No, it's not light brown.
Bronze.
It's bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally looks like metal.
Exactly.
A little bit. So
And so it gets about 5 to 6 foot tall. Grasses are really good. This grass is really good if you have a utility area in your lawn.
oh yeah.
Plant it around that, it'll cover up the utilities.
Yeah, and the reason we do that is because those utility boxes, you still want the city to be able to access those, or you to be able to access those. So by putting grasses around there, if they're in the way, you cut them back. It's grass.
Yeah, they can get through
It
it.
grows right back.
A lot better than the Chinese holly.
Yeah, don't. We've had people do that.
I know.
Yeah, you're going to be cussing yourself.
I know.
Or the electric people will be.
No
if they
service.
have to go to your meter box.
No service for you. Come back tomorrow.
Oh.
Then your Sagittarium.
Sandhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a 4-foot plant, extra wide, powdery blue foliage, and that's another one. Grasses are good for point of interest.
Yeah.
All right. Either the plumes or the color of the foliage, like the fire dragon would be your red orange, and this one will have your powdery blue foliage. Nice thing about grass is that it gives swaying, it gives movement in the landscape.
Oh, yeah. Movement.
That's the purpose of grasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
gives
why.
a lot more texture to an area rather than just low plants, or it gives you that mid height and kind of gives a mystery look to it. Like, oh, what's coming up next?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about hostas. Hosta man. I want to be a hosta man.
Okay. Well, after that, let's get to Big Daddy. So, Big Daddy Hosta.
This is your hosta.
It's all in the name.
Big
it's
Daddy.
all. We don't even have to talk about that
Big
one.
Daddy.
Big Daddy.
This is yours.
Oh, your Big Daddy Hosta, large, round, very puckered, cupped, shaped blue leaves. Now this
It gets
one's
24 inches tall.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, I mean, it gets pretty wide too.
That's
so if
2
you
foot.
let this go,
That's huge.
and the less splitting you do, the bigger it's going to
Yeah.
get. So this is a great hosta. I believe that I actually picked this one out because we've grown it. We didn't have it last season, but we've grown it before, and it just flew off the shelf. So
Yeah.
everybody loved it. And I wanted to plant one of these, but I couldn't get to it quick enough. So my ulterior motive was, if we order it, then
Yeah.
I can buy one.
Yeah, that's why we have double the quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
You like it because of the name, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah. Dream Queen is another one. It's a medium, kind of a smaller version but it has the very bold variegation on it.
Yes.
And we like it because the leaves on it is kind of puckered. It looks different. And it's a fast growing hosta. It's one of the few hosta that is sun tolerant. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like why we like the Dream Queen. Your
Yeah.
gold standard, which is a hosta that's been around forever.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me explain something. Every year, we do not grow the same hosta twice. Like if we grow the Dream Queen, we're doing it again this year because it was so popular. We didn't grow enough. But like your gold standard, we'll grow it this year, but we won't grow it next year. But we'll grow it the year after. That way we get a good rotation of our different hostas, because with hostas, it's all about different varieties.
Yeah, yeah. Because honestly, you could have just a full garden bed, maybe if it's shade, which preferred, of just hostas. There is a such thing as just a hosta garden.
Yeah. But I like mixing your hostas. We've said this before, hostas with your heuchera, your coral
Yes.
bells. That always works really good.
Now that gold standard, that one has a lavender bloom that comes up off of it. It's absolutely beautiful. Has that golden green color to it, and so really bright, especially up against the Big Daddy with those bluer kind of ribbeted leaves.
Yep.
So that one's a great one.
Another would be your Jurassic Park. Now this one gets stinking huge. It gets about 50 inches. All right? That's 4 foot.
That's huge.
That's huge. Then your Hosta Patriot. Patriot's one of my favorite because it is the white margins on it.
Yeah.
Is pure white.
Yeah.
It is not a creamy white. It is pure white.
Yeah.
Looks very, very outstanding up against the green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You get a really good selection out of these, and again, mixing them all together and just having a hosta garden.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you have your Paul's Glory, which is a chartreuse yellow.
Yeah.
And that one, again, gets about 25 inches. That's 2 foot. So that'll give you that bright yellow in the landscape. Veggies.
Perennial veggies.
Asparagus, baby.
Oh yeah.
All right. Here's the deal. With asparagus, we grew asparagus just for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we know that we're going to have some left over.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I mean, what do? We got a big gunny sack of it. I mean, it's like a 3 foot gunny sack of asparagus.
Yes.
Because the asparagus is really expensive in the store.
Yep.
And to grow your own asparagus, first of all, the number one fertilizer that I use would be that Royal Gold all-purpose fertilizer, that 555.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then and I would use that from beginning to end. I would not use the finisher. I always call it the finisher. It's the Imperial Boost.
Yeah.
No reason to use the Imperial
Yeah.
Boost, in my opinion. What you want is that growth, steady growth, so that if you have a fertilizer that has
You're speaking for the asparagus.
yes,
correct?
for
Okay.
asparagus
Yeah,
only. For asparagus or any vegetable, a vegetable is a true vegetable, you want that slow, consistent growth, because with asparagus, if you use a fertilizer that has too much nitrogen in it, you'll get asparagus that's very tall and skinny, and it'll lean over. You want that meaty, beefy asparagus.
Yeah, I would agree. And also making sure you're going out and cutting those at the appropriate time before they go to flower. If you don't get there in time for asparagus the next day or hour, it seems like they just shoot up all of a sudden.
And they bolt.
Yep, and they're too fibery.
Yep.
You want to get those guys when they're about that big. Now, also with now that we're talking about Royal Gold, what I love about Royal Gold is they have these guys are so smart. So these guys that know that there's different things that a plant needs, especially vegetable plants and whatnot, and there's different stages of growth. So what these guys have come up with, and it ended up being a lot cheaper in the long run because it lasts
the
way
three
longer
stages.
with the 3 stages. And so they start with the grow. So when your plants are getting there before they flower, and then
That's when you want to focus on your vegetative growth.
Absolutely.
To support and sustain the fruit production later on.
Yes.
So that's very important because they focus on the root development and the top vegetative growth.
And then they have for your second stage is when things go to flower and produce fruit. And now for that second stage, they've got the bloom. That will help push your plants into a good, healthy bloom. Also, what you want to keep in mind is that this is high in calcium. And what calcium is important for, you don't get blossom end rot, but in the bloom stage, you don't want your flower to fall. So what that is that your flower comes out and it falls rather than turning into fruit.
I'm sorry.
So you really don't want that. You want high calcium, which they have in that.
There is a hormone that will not produce. It's called cytokinin. It's a hormone that the plant will not produce if it is not fertilized properly. And that's why some people will have to spray their plant with cytokinin to keep that bloom from dropping off. So
okay,
good point.
And then the Imperial Boost. Now, we had used this normally in the summer. Your tomato plants start to tucker out. They get a little bit overwhelmed with the heat. Now, we had used this, the Imperial Boost.
That's what turned me on to the company.
It just kept them going. It was absolutely wild. They just kept producing. So the Imperial Boost is higher in phosphorus and potassium. And so, and by the way, the fruit was just, oh my goodness.
Especially on tomatoes.
It was so tasty.
You don't even need salt on this thing. This is so good. What kind is this? What tomato is this?
I think it's Beefmaster. I can't keep him out.
I mean, they're just so good.
You're worse than the raccoons.
It's so, look at all that. It's just juicy, you know? That's good.
We had less cracking, less cat eye, the whole 9 yards.
And
that's what that threw me over.
Yeah,
as far as,
we kind of flipped the script and started going with Royal Gold.
Yeah.
And we're telling you this not to be an infomercial, but because it really worked for us. So
yeah. And the other vegetable that we want to talk about is your rhubarb.
Yeah.
The Victoria rhubarb, it's the mainstay. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Here in Northwest, it grows great up in Iowa and the northern climates. Here in Northwest Arkansas, if you can find an area that is on the northeast side of your home, you can grow rhubarb. The most devastating factor of rhubarb is that summer heat, but you can grow rhubarb on the northeast corner.
Here's what I'll say. Last year in our garden, we tried the rhubarb, and it started off about this small when we got it, late spring. It was one of the plants we had left over. It started off about this small, and I planted it in full sun next to like where our lavender is and stuff. And this sucker got about 3 foot tall and 3 foot wide.
Oh,
by midsummer.
Full sun.
Full sun.
All right.
Absolute full sun. It did wonderful. Yeah.
That's the exact opposite. of
Sorry
what
to
I said.
interrupt you.
All right,
Well,
rhubarb
I'm just
king.
saying that this Victoria rhubarb is a really good variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So that's it. That's all the perennials that we have. Hey, folks, thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell them all the places that we are?
Yeah. Hey, so you can obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, please feel free to comment if you have gardening questions or anything about this show. That helps us produce content for you, like we answered those questions earlier. Also, you can email us at rockwellfarms.com. You could go to rockwellfarms.com, find our email, and email us those questions as well. If you're listening on Pandora, Spotify, or Amazon Music, you can also find us on X, Facebook, and Instagram.
So please comment on things that we touched on this show for next show, and we will respond to it. Or if there's topics that you want us to talk about, please feel free to use those methods of contacting us.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for talking and listening with us. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you next week. Happy gardening.